Hi there, you're listening to Unnatural Selection, the show about newsy type stuff and things. My name is George.
My name is Tom.
And my name is Adam.
And with our powers combined, we are Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com. It's a podcast that keeps going despite no popular demand.
I don't know. We got to find something to do with our Sunday afternoon.
Despite all medical advice.
Now, Adam, you mentioned last week they're talking about the Trump administration right off the top was potentially causing some
mental health.
Some mental health challenges. Yeah. And so what we've done is we've really front-loaded the first 3/4 of the show with a lot of Trump administration stuff. So...
Well, I've got a beer, so... I mean, that might...
Yeah, you might want to crack open another one.
You might need something... Yeah, might need something stronger, but hey, by the end of the episode, we might have broken Adam's brain. So stay tuned for that.
As well as all of our hearts. So here we have just a... I don't know how to describe this, except to say it's basically a snuff film of a person getting murdered in Minneapolis. Let's have a listen. So there's a guy in the brown in the middle of the street. There's lots of traffic and chaos because of the ICE operation. He seems to be sort of directing people around, trying to sort of get him out of the way. He's filming on his phone. The ICE officers are getting pretty aggressive with a lady.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
He's sort of, the ICE agent pushes the lady over. He sort of gets in front. He's getting repeatedly pepper sprayed. Both the woman on the ground and he's trying to help her up. They are yanking him off of her. And there's about half a dozen ICE officers around, 3 of them on top of him. 1 of them grabs a gun from him, which is holstered in his pocket. Minnesota's an open carry state. Pulls it off of him. And you can hear he was shot 7 times.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I heard it was 10, but anyway.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah, just shot many times as they all back off and keep shooting, by the looks of it.
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah, that part was unclear to me. But
his gun was off him for a good couple of seconds
Yeah.
before they start shooting. You hear someone say gun, and then just pop, 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 pop.
Yes, it's to see people talk about being like, the fallout from this, from, the Homeland Security people and all that has been like an armed man was apprehended. It's like, yeah, that he was legally allowed to have.
Aren't you guys the Second Amendment cunts?
Yeah.
The New York
this
Times...
is one of the instances.
That he was licensed to carry
and they were like...
and had it on him?
They didn't actually... It's funny, because there's different reports I've seen that the New York Times did one of those breakdowns of it, and they were like, oh, he actually had his phone out, it wasn't his gun.
Yes.
So...
Yeah, and you can see, there's multiple angles of this. So there's the one from across the street, and in that video, you can see the woman who's shooting this video in a pink jacket, and this is her angle that we're looking at here. And yeah, you can see quite clearly that at no point does he have his gun out. At no point is he threatening the officers. He's trying to help the woman up, and he's got his hands up. He's like, okay, trying to sort of step between them because that ICE officer just shoved that woman over onto her back for no reason. They've lost the plot.
They've hired a whole gang of yahoos.
12,000. So the initial ranks of ICE was around 7,000. And since this administration has started, they've hired an additional, I think it was 12,000 plus additional.
So doubled.
More than doubled.
Yeah.
And more than doubled. And a lot of these people have 47 days of training, allegedly, because Trump is the 47th president. So that's why they've got 47 days of training.
Honestly, that's 46 days more than I expected them to have had.
Well, the guy who shot and killed this guy, Alex Pretti, apparently had been with him for 8 years. So I guess this is just what he wanted to do. Plenty of training, one would assume, in 8 years.
Plenty of experience, yeah.
Yeah, and to know not to just murder people in the street for no fucking reason. He was a registered nurse. Was working in the intensive care unit in the Minneapolis
the victim. Sorry, you
VA
switched. Yeah.
healthcare system. Yeah, sorry, the man who was killed. And they, wrestled him to the ground. When he's on the ground, they shoot him at close range several times. And it seems consistent with the interpretation that a gun appeared to have been taken away by one agent just before another shot him, and that's shown by multiple angles. So here we have fascist Barbie, Kristi Noem, saying a bunch of false things about it, as we've come to expect. It's just listen to this stupid bitch.
Looks like a situation where an individual arrived at this scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement.
Just made claims that the individual posed a threat to law enforcement.
That is no claim. It is the facts. The facts of this situation. This individual showed up to a law enforcement operation with a weapon and dozens of rounds of ammunition. He wasn't there to peacefully protest. He was there to perpetuate violence. And he was asked to show up and to continue to resist by a governor who's irresponsible and has a long history of corruption and lying.
The White House has labeled the man who was killed in Minnesota as a domestic terrorist. Is that something you agree with? And have you seen any evidence to
when
back
you
up that
perpetuate
claim?
Violence against a government because of ideological reasons and for reasons to resist and perpetuate violence, that is the definition of domestic terrorism. This individual who came with weapons and ammunition to stop a law enforcement operation of federal law enforcement officers committed an act of domestic terrorism. That's the facts. We are focused specifically on child pedophiles and sexual assault and trafficking rings in Minneapolis, have brought dozens and dozens of them to justice. Why is he protecting them and refusing to work with us? This individual impeded the law enforcement officers and attacked them. State the facts as they unfolded on the street today. We were doing a targeted operation against an illegal criminal, and this individual came with a weapon and dozens of rounds of ammunition and attacked them. And these agents took action to defend their lives and to defend the lives of the people around them and acted according to their training. And we will continue to let this process go forward and not allow people like Governor Walz and Mayor Frey to lie about what actually unfolded on that street. It appears that they want this lawlessness to continue. It appears that they want chaos to distract from the theft and the fraud and the corruption of their city.
Was the president closer to invoking the Insurrection Act?
The president will use every tool that he needs to follow through on his promises to the American people.
There isn't a level of hell deep enough for these people.
Man, I hope hell is real. I hope hell is real so these fucking people go there. Like, it just unreal. Even if you did think this, I wonder if she really thinks this or if she's just parroting the company line and she knows what she needs to do to make Daddy Trump happy is to just say everyone's a fucking domestic terrorist. But like, if you really think this, the things that are coming out of her mouth, if you really think that, like, you need to be institutionalized because you're insane. You have a mental health disorder, right? Like, I really can't tell with, like with Stephen Miller, I'd be like, okay, that guy's a true believer. He really is just like a fucking racist fascist, right? C+ Santa Monica fascist, Stephen Miller. But like with Kristi Noem, with Pete Hegseth, I'm like, do you guys do you believe this stuff, or are you just saying what you need to say? Like, I suppose it doesn't really matter one way or another because they're just like, falling in line with the fascist system as it's unfolding. But like, I don't know. I'm curious about their interiority. Maybe it doesn't make a difference. But like,
I think at a certain point you start to believe your own bullshit because you kind of have to. And I think,
otherwise you'd be a monster. And I can't be a monster because I'm me.
And the brain, you start to rationalize things to justify them. This is how it starts, and then it becomes a pattern of behavior. And anyway, look, I'm not a psychologist, but yeah, this is not the first thing. Like, this is not the only thing that happened this week. There were people that were tear gassed. I don't really have anything to say about it, to be honest, because it's clearly wrong. There's video evidence from multiple angles which shows what happens. The fact that the government, the administration, are trying to convince people otherwise.
He came there to kill. He's a domestic terrorist. It's but you must know that's not true because you've seen the videos, right? Like, you're just making stuff up.
It's propaganda, right? Like 101.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is they're sticking to propaganda 101, except there is video evidence of it from multiple angles.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. There are obviously portions of people out there that are sort of vaguely supportive of this, or maybe they're just not paying attention. Like, I don't know how.
So we know that the president's approvals rating has dropped over this last year down to something like 35%, but it's still 35%. You know what I mean? Like, how is it 35 and not 0? You know what I mean? Like, these people need to get their fucking heads checked because obviously they're aware of what's happening. I don't know how you could avoid, snuff films on social media every fucking... It's every other week now that there's some horrifying... Or not every week, every day that you're seeing horrifying videos showing up on social media about what's happening in Minnesota. Like... You don't have to seek this information out. It will find you. I find the information and the clips on social media before I hear the news stories.
Your
Your
algorithm's pretty cooked, though, to be fair. You find stuff before the news stories.
Well, I don't know what I did to build this algorithm brick by brick that I'm getting murder films in my fucking racism app.
Bro, I mean, this is the thing, is that, like, if you're not on X, if you're not on certain, apps now that have, or tools, that social media tools that have pretty free, and that was, some of those clips are on Instagram that you were showing. But I guess my point being here is that, just like in the 1930s, there are a lot of people that just aren't really willing to critically engage with what's happening around them because of some large belief that they think that it's all for the best and we won't question this.
Yeah, pushing through the denial.
Yeah, you just...
I don't know, man. I don't know how you can see...
You start to... It's the cognitive dissonance. You start to build up a reality despite what you have put up in front of you. And, and
I don't know how you can see a photo of this kid. Liam Ramos, 5, a 5-year-old child. This photo broke my fucking heart. And I really don't think it's just because, I've got a son. When you see a photo of this kid, he's a 5-year-old kid in his little fucking, his little blue hat, and he looks scared and terrified. He was detained by ICE, him and his father, both detained by ICE. Both
to Texas.
In the United States illegally. Yeah, they've been renditioned to fucking Texas. To see the fear on that kid's face and to see that and go, yeah, good. It's like, I think you're missing a part of your brain. You've actually completely collapsed your whatever fucking, shriveled up remnants of your brain that were, devoted to empathy have clearly just completely atrophied, because I don't know a human being on this planet that could see that and go, yeah, that's fucking good. That's good work, boys. Just got to get him out. Just got to get them out, boys. They're just got to come here legally. They did come here legally. His dad has a pending asylum case. They've done everything legally. They're there in the United States legally.
Yeah.
And they captured him, and they were having him knock on doors to get other people to come outside. They were using him as bait. To think that a kid only a couple of years older than my son would be alone in a fucking detention facility. It made me cry. I read the story and I wept. I was like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what the fuck has society become where this is acceptable? I know what a kid needs. Kids need attention. They need to be fed. You need to help them. They need, he's got to go to the toilet. Is he even with his dad in Texas? Who knows?
That's the scary void of all
He's
this.
just some fucking kid alone, terrified in some fucking detention. Like, not that anyone should be in a detention facility like this. These horrible fucking facilities that they've got these people in, these fucking concentration camps. But like a 5-year-old kid, like...
Can you imagine if it was the Dems doing this? Like, can you imagine if it was a Democratic administration?
Rounding up the MAGAs.
Like,
it'd be firefights in the streets.
well, you would have...
There
It'd
would
be
be a civil
war.
Yeah.
And I don't... You know... I mean, we've talked about the phases. The next step is sort of some type of insurrection, which is, funnily enough, Trump's wielding out the, I might use the Insurrection Act to send in troops if I need to. But the next step, logically, would be some sort of insurrection before you get to some sort of formalised civil war. But I guess the question is, like, what's the threshold for that, really? Like what? If this isn't a trigger point, like, what is...
Do you mean what's the threshold for...
An insurrection. Like, if the
this, left to rise up against them violently?
Just to somehow change the status quo. Like, if this isn't a trigger point, what is? Like...
Yeah.
What... Like, there's a pattern of behaviour. It's not just been in Minnesota. It's been in other cities as well. They're talking about going to Philly next.
Bro, don't fuck with Philly. They got so many socks and batteries to fill up.
I just don't understand from a... I guess it's, it's fear. There's fear. I completely understand that there'll be a lot of people quite scared. This concept of, well, just comply and everything will be okay. But that's what the... it's a long bow to draw, but that's what the Jews
he had a
said
gun.
in
Why?
1930s.
What happened in the 30s?
Yep, we'll just go along
why
with
did
it.
he have a
Just
gun?
comply.
Why did he have a gun? Because he was scared. Because people are getting fucking killed. And guess what? He was right. He was right to have a gun on him because he got killed. You know what I mean? Like, you go, well, like, just comply, everything will be fine. They'll escalate. I've seen so many video after video of some ICE agent just like shoving a guy, just like assault, just straight up, unprovoked, just shoving people, assaulting them, beating the shit out of them, chasing this van. I saw the clip, first person perspective. This van of white guys just rolls up in front of a black guy and says, "Where are your papers? You a citizen, bro?" And they just get out of the car and start chasing him. This is a guy just on the street, black guy, African American, clearly American, because they fucking, your people fucking took them to this country in slave ships. Like, it's just unbelievable what. Like, I just can't, where are your papers? Like, that's where we're at now.
Yeah. History is rhyming.
Anyway, so Joe, you're talking about the family that got tear gassed. So in Minneapolis on the 18th, 6 children, a family with 6 children were tear gassed after they were caught in a clash between ICE and protesters. They were just trying to get home from their son's basketball game. And some ICE agents surround the car. They say, "Get out of here." She's like, "We're trying to get out of here." All of a sudden, tear gas canisters get shot. One's under the car, explodes, lifts the car up off the ground, apparently.
I think there were flashbangs there as well.
Oh, well, some sort of explosive.
Yeah, still far in excess of anything necessary.
Causes the all the airbags to deploy, all the car doors and everything lock automatically. So tear gas is now getting into the minivan, and they can't get out.
And can't escape. Yeah.
And they can't escape. They pull everyone out of the car. The last one that was able to get out of the car was this 6-month-old because of the baby seat. And all of a sudden, the 6-month-old's not breathing. They're having to give CPR. ICE wouldn't let the fucking ambulance come in to help the 6-month-old not breathing child. And they eventually, I think it was local cops, got in and like pulled them out and were able to get him to a hospital. The kid's alive, thankfully. But like these guys weren't even protesting. They were just driving home and got caught up with these fucking lunatics, these morons. It's almost like, Stephen Miller got on TV the other day and was saying like, don't let anyone interfere with you doing your duty. You do whatever you have to do. Like, don't stop, sort of thing. And I really do think that, short of like encouraging violence, he's doing everything except that to be like, do what you have to do. Doesn't matter if people get in your way. Like, you'll be fine. Like, Trump's got you, bro. And
Well,
some of them want the
know
violence. I really do think some of them are just going out there for the purposes of, fucking up libtards. Like, I really do think that's their...
Yeah. When you're a bunch of, crazy right-wing fuckheads who have just been hired on the provision of, hey, do you like bashing people? And you give them all these toys. You give a guy like that flashbangs. You bet your ass he wants to use those flashbangs. Like, they'll just use these at any moment's notice.
There's no de-escalation.
Time and time again, there's no punishment. There's no scrutiny. There's no consequences.
No, Trump has created a permission structure where if anything bad happens to you, fuck it, you're good. I'll pardon you. JD Vance was talking about absolute immunity, which is a thing that does not exist. There's qualified immunity for federal agents, which means if something happens, it's really hard to sue a federal agent, personally in civil court. So JD Vance, if they've got absolute immunity, can they just go around raping? Like, can they just like choke out a cheerleader? You know what I mean? Like, it's insane that this idea that they can just do whatever the fuck they want and there's nothing that they can. Nobody can do anything to stop them. Like, it's obviously nonsensical, but it's emboldened them, and so now they're cruising around looking for trouble. They're escalating situations, not trying to de-escalate situations. People who do civilian law enforcement are allegedly supposed to be trained in de-escalating a situation. Your job is to get out of there without a firefight. And it seems like they're deliberately being aggressive for the purposes of escalating. There was this one piece of footage I saw where a woman was filming some ICE officers and they go, "What's your information?" She goes, "Why do you need my information? I'm a citizen. I'm from here. I'm not driving. I don't need to show you my license." He was like, "Oh yeah, well, we're building a little database for people like you." I was like, "Oh, okay.
Are you?
Oh yeah, that's just going to go into the Palantir Panopticon fucking along with all the Doge stuff that they scraped. Yeah, that's fine. Building a list of political dissidents and Jews. I wonder where historically that tends to go."
What George is talking about, there's an article here we'll share on the show notes from the Bulwark where apparently which university was it? The University of Pennsylvania was asked to provide a list of Jewish people.
Hey, give us a list of your Jews.
Staff and students.
We want to make sure that you're doing the anti-Semitism stuff correctly. Give us your Jews.
The university declined to cooperate, but the article does point out that there are other colleges and organisations that have complied with such requests. And the article also does go on to say, and we talked about it last week, that obviously there's the app that Palantir have developed, and obviously they have to fill that app with data to be able to make decisions. And we talked about how Doge last week obviously had access to various things during Doge's efforts to downsize the government.
And documented instances of them transferring information out of the IRS, out of, like secure government servers into less secure cloud environments for unknown purposes. Like, we know that happened, right? So it's like, why?
But it's not just Doge. Like, the Internal Revenue Service has agreed to share confidential tax records with ICE. Medicaid data is being used to help with law enforcement.
So is it because they're stealing jobs or because they're not paying taxes, right? So because, like, clearly, if you're using IRS records to track them down, they are paying taxes, like if it, like it's just all of these arguments that they've always made about illegal immigration and why it's no good and why they're bad and why we need to get them out. It's like, well, it just proves that all of it was fucking nonsense all along. It's just because you hate Browns. Like, it really is that simple. Like, they're not paying taxes. Well, you're finding them from their tax records. So they probably are paying taxes, because you have to. You don't get a choice as to whether you pay your taxes. Like, it just comes out of your fucking paycheck, right? Like,
so yeah, I mean, it is. This is partly why, they are seemingly walking up to randoms in the street. I mean, who knows? Maybe they are just walking up to randoms in the street because they look a certain way. Maybe it is racially profiled, but
yes, of course it is.
I guess the other aspect is, they are building lists and they are using it in such a way with the app that we spoke about last week. So,
and now they've got Palantir to crunch the data on their fucking Panopticon. Correct. Cool.
Yeah, great.
So
I sent you guys that clip of the CEO of Palantir, like, on an investor call or whatever, saying like, I'm so super proud of all the work that we're doing, where we have to on occasion kill people.
Again, just like an unhinged sort of
lunatics.
Like you justify your own, you just lose sense of reality or empathy, and you sit in your own bubble and don't have to worry about it. And particularly for those the mega rich, they live in a bubble. They don't have to cross a protest line, due to a nice investigation. Like, it's just a complete divorcing from reality. Speaking of divorcing from reality, Trump has been ramping up efforts with his Board of Peace this week.
Yes.
The Board of Peace, which is more and more looking like Trump's attempt to buy countries into an alternative United Nations, which was meant to start off, obviously, as a way of... And it's actually a UN-mandated, solution to the situation in Gaza as part of the peace plan. That there would
Gaza's
be
not even mentioned. They forgot about the whole Gaza thing. Now it's just give me money, please. Money, please.
So there's this Board of Peace, and he's invited various people and countries around the world to be a part, including Anthony Albanese here from Australia. Allegedly, because the text is technically sealed, but there have been various leaks from a number of areas. One of the things is, is that to be a permanent member of this board, you would have to upfront $1 billion of investment.
Just a cool bill.
As to what happens with that billion, I don't know. No one's really clear on that. But it's great to see that some countries have said yes, some countries have said, yep, we'll join. And it's great to see that, countries like Belarus, which is famously a democratic bastion, will be, and Pakistan, obviously they're a democracy, sort of. I
believe Netanyahu.
Netanyahu
as another one. Yeah, the guy, the board that's going to oversee peace in Gaza. Netanyahu's on it.
Yeah, the guy who's got a warrant out for war crimes on him. That Netanyahu. Cool.
Yeah, let's put Jeffrey Epstein on the Protecting Children board and see how that goes.
Let's put the fox on the Protecting Henhouse list.
Yeah, anyway, exactly. So this Board of Peace ostensibly is now growing into this alternative UN, which is
the even more united UN, the even more United Nations.
And you can look from the list of people that have said yes thus far. It was a nice little graphic they had on Insiders this morning. And it's, obviously all the Western countries have said no or are yet to respond.
Vladimir Putin? Yeah. Imagine, hey, ChatGPT, I got kind of a tricky one. How do I, as a middle power, tell the United States I don't want to be on the Board of Peace with Vladimir Putin and Benjamin Netanyahu, but in a way that doesn't fuck my country? But take as long as you need to respond. Accuracy is more important than speed.
It just brings down AI as a concept. The servers just melt themselves and go, nope, that's it. We're done.
Just the lights go off. Ka-chung, 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 ka-chung. It's just cannot handle.
So the preamble of this, of the Constitution, or the governing sort of text that has been leaked online or wherever to news organisations. The preamble emphasises the need for what it calls a more nimble and effective international peace-building body, and laments that too many approaches to peace-building foster perpetual dependency and institutionalised crisis rather than leading people beyond it. I mean, there is some extent for that.
Need for speed!
Now, there is a Gaza Executive Board, which is basically what's been referred to previously, which will be the thing managing the transition. But... it's obviously...
Is Tony Baghdad Blair still on that list?
Tony Baghdad Blair is still somewhere on this list.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, it's... Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where I see this as more of a PR tool. I mean, it's they're going to have to use it to some extent, but it's becoming more of a PR tool for the American administration than it is really an effective... solution to anything that's happening in Gaza at this point. It's been interesting to see, especially with Davos this week, which was the World Economic Forum that happened in Switzerland. This is sort of happening around the same time, right? Most of the middle power, after Gavin Newsom told everyone to stop being pussies, that's not a direct quote, but basically fairly close
Paraphrasing.
to it. Gavin Newsom being the governor of California. Most European leaders have been being a bit more stern with Trump than they have been up until recently, particularly in relation to the Greenland situation, which now, with Greenland, don't worry about it. There's no tariffs. We're not going to do military action, but they still want it. They're still negotiating a deal. It's going to be a deal of some kind.
Is it a deal that ends up with the United States owning all of Greenland?
That's what they want.
Yeah. I heard it was more just they were going to own the ground underneath some existing military bases, and that's it. Sweet deal, Donald. Great deal, buddy. Negotiator-in-chief, out of the deal. The most incredible deal. What we're going to do is we're going to own the piece of land that we were already on. The most incredible deal that you've ever seen.
Well, you try negotiating against Emmanuel Macron with those sick shades.
Yeah, with his fuckboy sunglasses,
aviators, just sort of on.
He had
like, what they always look
first
like
blood
this.
vessel apparently, and this is what he always wears.
420, bro. Got a burst blood vessel, mate.
Mark Carney's speech at Davos was being argued as a game changing sort of point of.
Is that the Prime Minister of Canada?
Correct.
Canada, yeah, correct.
Yeah, Canada.
Yeah, so basically he's like, hey, so the US is like fucked up the world order and we need to make our own like world order with just the middle powers. Like, fuck them, basically.
Yeah, like hey, we need to look at the reality and realize that this isn't working.
Yeah. And Trump responds, this is the thing. Everyone's like, madman theory of politics. Like, Trump doesn't respond to incentives. He's crazy. Who knows what he's going to do next? But when all of Europe starts plonking NATO troops down on Greenland and a bunch of major financial institutions in Europe say, maybe we're not going to buy all of those US bonds that we've been buying anymore. And then all of a sudden the market goes, oh, geez, I don't know about this Greenland thing. He's going to tank the economy over a fucking piece of dirt that nobody cares about. And he keeps saying Iceland instead of Greenland. So that's mainly just confusing. I think I'm just going to wait.
Once? Okay. Doing it like 8 times in a speech? Oh, boy.
Björk is going, what is he talking about? There's, eventually the financial markets start to go, oh, fuck, I guess we better sell America, right? And then all of a sudden, then he switches his position. He's happy to negotiate. So it's not as though he's completely immune to all of these pressures because all of his buddies, all of his money, is floating around in there in this soup of fucking cryptocurrency and assets and whatever other cooked, corrupt shit he's picked up. $1.4 billion, I think it was, since he started his second presidency, according to, was it the New York Times? Something like that. An extra $1.4 billion he's picked up. All his money is tied up in markets and assets and all this sort of stuff. So if the market freaks out, it affects him personally as well.
Yeah. You got to hit him in his wallet.
Yeah, and that's when he starts to go, oh, fuck, if we're not going to be able to borrow because the bond markets have dried up because America's not a safe trade anymore, the country fucking explodes. Like they call it, what do they call them? The bond, it's like a bond rebellion or something. It's like basically the people who control the flows of capital, the flows of debt into the United States, because the United States takes on so much debt constantly, are really the people that actually have control over what's going on, right? Because if they start allocating their capital elsewhere, the American financial
Argentina is great.
Yeah, exactly. The American financial system spends so much more than it makes on a constant, continual basis that if your debt is now not AAA debt anymore, the country ceases to function, right?
It's not, isn't it? It has been downgraded by a few rating agencies.
Well, it's double A now or something as opposed to triple A.
I honestly think Trump has just watched the Gerard Butler movie Greenland, and thinks that it's the only way to save himself from the apocalypse, which also lines up with some of the crypto crap that tech utopia stuff that's been posting around.
Well, maybe stop taking so much aspirin and you won't die soon anyway.
Save
yourself. Where are you going to be? He's fucking 79. Where are you going to be in 3 years anyway?
has he seen the much anticipated Greenland 2, though?
I have not seen Greenland. I think I'll probably watch it. Wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad film, to be honest.
I have seen neither, but I just saw there was a trailer for Greenland 2, and I'm like, God, I hope this is a movie about someone founding a second Greenland, and I was very disappointed.
Greenland 2, this time it's greener.
Did you also see that Trump said, just in like an amusing brain fart of his, that he essentially did a huge, like, you should be thanking me, bro, kind of speech in Davos, in Switzerland, when he said, if it weren't for us in the United States, you'd all be speaking German right now. And
Captain Bone Spurs. Captain Bone Spurs, who avoided the draft. You were personally responsible, were you, Donald?
Well, no, the big bullet point is that the majority of people in Switzerland speak German.
It's their national language.
They currently speak German, Donald. And not because of the Nazis.
Such a fucking idiot. It's unbelievable. Like, it's funny. He says things that are funny and insane and crazy. And then you remember he's got the nuclear codes. And then it's not so funny anymore. It's like, if this was just a guy on a television show, you'd be like, he's so dumb, it's crazy. But he controls the largest military force that's ever been assembled in human history. And
not the largest, the most powerful. Put it that way.
The most powerful, certainly. Probably the Chinese military is technically larger if you're counting head count. But like, the most powerful military force ever known to man. I don't think you can dispute that that's the United States currently, ever, historically, right? Like, and it's just this fucking moron in charge of it. Like, it's just unbelievable. It's so funny until you realize, like, oh, we're all fucked. We're so fucked. We're never getting one of those fucking submarines. We're about to send him another trillion, what is it, $900 million this year. We're never seeing a fucking 11 billion, 11 squillion dollars.
We're sending them a lot of money. We don't know the exact figure.
I'm never going to see a fucking submarine.
Yes, despite all this, AUKUS is alive and well, allegedly. Even though the British submarine industry...
Well, they're cashing our checks. But to that extent, it's alive and well. They're happy to take our money.
Speaking of taking money, our politicians get paid money, and I don't really know what for, because the Nationals just seem to not want to do a whole lot with it, and just say no to everything. It's been a week in Australian politics this week. It has been, a journey.
It's been precisely 1 week, and yet it feels like so much more than a week. The ups and downs, the roller coasters, the killing season. We've had it all this week. Love, hate, sex, drama. I assume Barnaby Joyce is having an affair again. I don't know.
You made this. By the way, Barnaby Joyce made this whole thing about marriages. And there's been more marriages than a trip to the Gold Coast this week. That was his quote.
Stop talking about marriages, Barnaby.
Bro.
Is he just trying to get that out of his SEO? It's just like Barnaby, second marriage. And he's like, he's just trying to, every time he gets on TV, just talk about marriages to like spam the SEO. So that the first story goes away.
Yeah, I was going to say, Barnaby, how many of those marriages were yours?
Yes.
The Gold Coast.
Don't worry, friend of the show, Polyverse is writing in. Polyverse, have you boys already talked about the coalition breakup?
No.
You tuned in just in time, Polyverse. You missed all the depressing Trump administration murdering people on the street stuff, and you're here for the juicy part.
So when we were here last week, we spoke about the fact that they were splitting up the legislation. It was all going to go through as one omnibus bill. There was going to be the hate laws. They were going to get rid of the racial vilification stuff and also do the gun control stuff. So that all happened this week. Now, gun control stuff went through. That has been supported by the Greens. The hate crime stuff was not supported by the Greens, but they got support of the coalition. Or did they? Got support from the Liberals.
What remains of the coalition, yes.
They got support from the Liberals, but the Nationals, I guess, their point was that they were not fed into the decision-making process. There wasn't a full coalition meeting about it.
Circle jerk.
There was, a cabinet meeting and a few other things.
But the Nationals have members of cabinet.
Correct.
Right? Like that's part of the agreement.
Correct.
Is that Bridget McKenzie and others are part of the shadow cabinet and are representative of the rest of the party. Like, not everyone in the Liberal Party is on the shadow cabinet, But that's what a shadow cabinet is you get together and you make decisions representing the rest of your colleagues. That's why it's the front bench, not the entire bench.
So Albanese reckons people have had the draft version of the bill for 2 or 3 weeks. They only made some minor amendments, and basically they negotiated that with Susan Ley, and then Susan Ley went back to the cabinet, and then I guess the Nationals cabinet members took it back to their own party meeting, and then that's when the shit hit the fan.
Fuck that.
So what happened? The bill was amended slightly based on the agreement that was brokered between Labor and the Liberals, because obviously they're trying to get this through the Senate as well, right? So they can get it through the lower house, no worries. They're trying to negotiate passage through the Senate. They got supply from the Liberals.
With 94 seats in the lower house, it would shoot through like a greased turkey. So yeah, it's really just about the Senate.
And one of the key tenets of the coalition is that you have cabinet solidarity. So they do allow conscience votes and stuff, but if you're a cabinet minister, no, you have to vote with the party line.
For like particular social issues, like the gay marriage thing was like a good example of that, where they're like, you can sort of like, no, we're not going to make you vote, the party line sort of thing. But like,
no, I think generally speaking, if you're in the member of the coalition, you can have a conscious vote. But
if you're a backbencher,
but if you're a cabinet or shadow cabinet in this case member, you have to have solidarity with the party's position.
Because otherwise it undermines everything that the leader does if they've got members of their own cabinet undermining them, and
So,
like, obviously that's how it works.
The vote gets tabled, and then 3 Nationals members cross the floor, including Liberal Senator Alex Antic as well.
Up to his old antics.
So Bridget, I've got to find the names now.
Bridget McKenzie was one of the other ones.
Of course, I didn't have it up in front of me. There were 2 others.
Ross Cadell, Susan McDonald.
Yeah, okay. So they broke ranks along with Alex Antic and sat on the other side. It's one of those pictures where you see everyone on one side of the floor and 4 people on the other. Anyway, they were saying, well, that set the cat amongst the pigeons. The Nationals went back and they had another cabinet another sort of party meeting. And at the back of that party meeting, this is the other thing, sorry. It's before the vote. Those members that voted no all resigned their positions.
In cabinet.
Yeah, they're like, if you're going to make us vote for this, we're going to resign.
And then Susan Ley went, okay.
Okay, see ya.
Great.
And then the Nationals said, okay, well, then if you do that, then we're going to resign from the coalition. And Susan Ley was like, okay. And then they did.
So now all 8, whatever it was, shadow ministers from the coalition, from the Nationals, yeeted out of there, and the coalition has formally been dissolved. In reality, David Littleproud was incredulous, came out and had basically a tantrum about the whole thing. And now, what he said was, in his tantrum, was that basically they will not support a coalition under Susan Ley. Basically saying, get rid of her, otherwise we're out.
Yeah.
Which is crazy for your minor party partner in a coalition to be like, I want to decide who leads your party. It's an insane negotiating tactic.
Well, it sounds like it's going to work.
Yeah.
As we'll get to in a minute.
Here's the thing. Yeah.
Because he took that opportunity as well, I thought, just Littleproud, to not only outright saying the issue's her, so hint, if she's not in charge anymore, maybe we'll come back just to start some division in there. But he was also like, you know who I had a great relationship with? Peter Dutton. Australia missed out. He just straight up said Australia missed out on having him as the Prime Minister, because that would have been sick.
Yeah. Anyway.
Amazing thing to say after the gigantic bollocking that they got.
They haven't even looked at the report. The report that Peter Dutton's going to sue over, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, he suggested it was
defamatory.
Suable. Yeah. It was something over which he could sue potentially.
Sure. Potentially could if he wanted to sue. They still haven't discussed that because this has all been happening. By the way, they also did all this. The Nationals pulled this stunt on the day of the National Day of Mourning for the
The Bondi
Bondi
attack.
A day of
Just
political
impeccable.
solidarity.
Impeccable time. And they said
Yeah.
that, the Labor's dragging its heels. They're not moving fast enough. What are they going to do? And Labor's like, okay, let's have a special sitting and we'll pass some laws. Like, let's go early in the new year. And then everyone's like, whoa, pump your brakes, Turbo. We didn't get consulted. We need to have input into the process. We need to let democracy play out. It's like, weren't you cunts moments ago just saying that we needed to do something immediately about this, and we're criticizing the government for not having done something sooner? I don't love the new hate speech laws. There was a clip going around where Penny Wong and other senior members of the Labor government have been asked, like, hey, so, the wording on this is pretty broad. Does that mean a
That
group
was one of the
here?
changes that Susan Ley negotiated for. I thought it made it a bit broader.
Oh, cool. One of the, which basically said, like, if someone says that Israel's committing a genocide and someone in the Jewish community feels as though they're
would
being
that reasonably
targeted by that, would that count as hate speech? And the answer wasn't no.
The answer was, well, anything determined to be in breach of the law will be in breach of the law.
Yeah.
You're like, no, duh. But
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
asking you for this exact scenario, and they're like, oh, no, I won't.
I'm not going to get into hypotheticals. We're just going to pass laws and what about the consequences of them? Who knows? It's hypothetical until we do it. We guess we have to.
I do need to read it through the latest version of it because it's a little unclear. Some of those questions that we're getting asked don't line up with some of the reporting I've seen, but then again, I would like to see the wording. Because obviously the legislation itself is about the concept of banning hate groups, not necessarily individuals on the internet, right? You have to be a member of
And
a
ASIO
hate
needs
group.
to designate them
Correct.
as a hate group and all this sort of
Yeah.
right. But when the definition of anti-Semitism that's been adopted is anyone that criticizes, not just Jewish people, but the state of Israel, then you could imagine a much wider dragnet being cast and groups being defined as hate groups that aren't actually necessarily hate groups. They just have critiques of Israel and the purported genocide that's taking place there, right?
Depend on the strength of the institution of ASIO, I guess, doesn't it, then in that case? And then perhaps the government of the day.
Yes, famously
and
left-wing ASIO.
the government of the day and the appointments they make to that organisation. So, yeah, I'd have to have a read through it, but specifically around hate groups. And also there's things around what the minister can and can't do in terms of visas. So, yeah, that was what this was all about, really, was this legislation. Anyway, so now, a couple of days later, despite the fact, by all reports, most members of the Liberal Party are furious with the Nationals and actually feel that Susan Ley did a pretty good job standing her ground, they're now, nonetheless, canvassing for Andrew Hastie and Angus Taylor.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Change
because,
places!
I'm no fan of the Liberal Party. I'm no fan of Susan Ley. But as the job of an opposition leader, being standing your ground and negotiating with the party in power to maybe reach a compromise that you are happy with in the incoming laws is kind of her job.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the outcome, but that's kind of her job. So weird that they'd be like, let's get rid of her. Crazy. It's
wild now. So yeah, they now Angus Taylor has been out of the country. He's on a European holiday. He wasn't even involved in any of this, by the way. Angus Taylor's just been removed. Yet his name is being floated around the circles of the. So there's the right wing faction that are counting all the numbers. Basically, what they're saying.
Good job, Angus. Well done.
And this is the other wild thing to me is that no one names names in any of this, right? But obviously, all the Liberal Party people are just
Everyone's
talking to
chatting so much shit. Oh my God. They're like, and we confirmed with half a dozen members of the Liberal Party, of like members of Parliament sort of thing. I'm like, half a dozen? That's so many. What are you talking?
So many of them.
Everyone's chatting so much shit about what is happening internally right now.
Oh, of course. After that, I forget what the name of the doco was, but the ABC did of
Killing
the
season.
3 Liberal prime ministers. No, the one about the Liberal prime ministers.
Oh, it's,
like,
yeah,
so the
so
Abbott
it's the-
years,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Turnbull years, and then the Scott Morrison years, and they sat down with like
Yeah, what was
John
that called?
Howard and kind of everyone. I forget what it was called.
It's the
it was
one.
really
It's the
good.
one they do at the
But-
end of every government. So the killing season
Yeah,
was the end of the
the
Liberal,
end of the Labour government
one.
one, yeah. Like the Rudd Gillard, Rudd again sort of era. But yeah, it's a really great documentary. But yeah, that at the end of it, you got this amazing clip from John Howard where, like, you know, they're like, okay, and we're done. Thank you, Mr. Howard, for coming in. He's taking off the lapel mic or whatever, and he says, oh, so what have you been getting? Some colourful language, I imagine? Like, they all know that they are talking shit about
Yes.
each other. Like, they just are always like, oh yeah, everyone talks shit
It's like
all the time.
the ABC is like well across. Like David Spears is like this morning was like, yeah, I spoke to like 3 guys before this, and they reckon that they maybe they're not going to call it just yet because like there's a funeral on, so maybe it won't be a this week thing, it'll be a next week thing. Anyway, so look,
Is the funeral for Susan Lay's leadership?
Yeah, for her career, yeah.
what they're trying to throw up now is that so Hastie and Taylor haven't publicly committed to anything, nor privately apparently, but
Hastie's people are hitting the phones.
Correct.
So it's like
So they're checking the
widely
numbers.
reported.
But like, I don't think the numbers are solid enough. So one thing's been floated is that someone could potentially call what they call an empty chair spill, which is what happened to Turnbull. Actually, Turnbull did the same thing. He called his own empty chair spill, and then no one stood. But like, you could call a spill, and if no one stands, then it's a way of sort of, well, that's that for the next 3 weeks, 4 months, whatever it may be.
I don't
that's
see
that
that.
for the next 3 minutes.
Yeah. I don't see that happening. It's like the internal, like according to the ABC, basically the right wing is more or less agreed that they're going to topple Susan Ley. It's about who is going to be the person that we put forward to replace her. Is it going to be
who and
Andrew
when?
Hastie, or is it going to be Angus Taylor? It's not whether a challenge is going to happen. It's like, which member of the far right psycho party are we going to have to be our leader, right? Like,
If they're smart, they will pick Hastie. But
okay, yeah, go on, explain why.
he's young. He's former ADF Special Forces captain. He's pretty
He did
conservative.
also say that women shouldn't
Yep.
serve in the military and a bunch of other
Yep.
cooked shit.
Yep.
So
But
I don't know if
there
that's
are a lot
the smart
of there are a lot
choice.
of people that probably agree with him, and I just think he's conservative enough to swing back some of the One Nation voters, and he
doesn't have the stink of Morrison on him
and he's
as much
attractive and
as
young
Angus
and
Taylor.
energetic enough, and also can put together a fairly. He speaks with a lot of passion. I think he's more engaging than Angus Taylor. I think there are a lot of people. I think he will appeal to the disengaged voter. Is my point.
And Angus Taylor is dumb as a box of hair, which doesn't.
And that's exactly right. And everyone knows that
doesn't
Angus
help.
Taylor is dumb as a box of hair.
Oh, I mean,
So-
you say Angus Taylor and everyone thinks of the exact same thing. Great job, well done, Angus.
Great job,
Like,
well done,
that
Angus,
just
when he
never-
commented on his own Facebook post on Maine.
Yeah.
But, whether or not... There was an interesting point. Again, I'm quoting insiders because I watched it this morning, so I had nothing else to do. But one of the panel members pointed out was like, is it wise to put Hastie up now to give him 2 years to hang himself with his own noose? Maybe they should wait until it's closer to the election and you don't burnish him with the chance to fail.
What confidence they have in their in their own party. They're like, no, we can't replace him now because then people will get to know him and they'll realize he's a fucking idiot. They won't vote for him. We need to replace him just before the election so they have no fucking clue who it is they're voting for.
Yeah,
Perfect.
jeez. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, that's the estimation that they have of their voters, right?
Obviously, the other thing moving around all this is that there's a news poll that came out that basically had One Nation's primary vote being higher than the coalition's for the first time
So
ever.
22% or something. I saw, yeah.
And I thought the highest it's ever been.
Yes, correct.
So.
So
Not
everyone's
great.
wondering, is it now time for One Nationals to form up?
Is there a way to kill yourself multiple times? Asking for a friend. I just could it be worse? I just don't know a worse possible scenario for the Australian public than all of the moderates just disappear entirely, and it's literally just, Barnaby Joyce
What toilets?
and Pauline Hanson and David Littleproud just riding the nuclear bomb
Yeah.
at the end, like at the end of Doctor Strangelove, just going, yeah, as the nuclear bomb falls to Earth. Like, it really feels like that's the sort of scenario that we're dealing with here.
I mean, if it lights a fire under enough of, like, the Labour people to be like, oh, fuck, we'd better start appealing maybe to some more far-left voters to actually maintain our power.
Something,
that might be a good thing.
It just seems
I don't
like
see it happening.
the fucking lobotomy coalition, just the fuckhead coalition coming together, and now in greater numbers. Like, it's just it's insane.
I mean, there was a good point that was raised earlier this week in that the One Nation have never won a lower house seat in their own right ever. Just in Pauline Hanson's 30 years of being in Parliament, she's a senator. They've never won a lower house
There's
seat.
no way
in
this
their own
Adolf
right.
Hitler. There's no way this Adolf Hitler guy will ever rise to power. He's a joke. We can just discount him. Don't worry about it. The democratic process will play out.
Well, the other-
Voters are smart. They're not going to vote for this guy just because he says a bunch of populist, incendiary, racist things. That'll never happen.
The other thing is that, you know, in theory, if One Nation and the Nationals go up against each other in a seat, like, they'd have to work out a way where they're not taking votes away from each other. Does that make sense?
Well, they probably would be competing for, some of the small rural communities against each other, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So
no, those are my racists. No, those are my racists.
Speaking of racism, Victoria Police has revoked its own power to allow warrantless pat-downs across inner Melbourne.
They just did that of their own accord, did they?
Yeah,
It's
they
weird.
just
It's
said-
strange that the police would surrender
didn't know
additional
they could do
powers
that.
that they have. That doesn't seem like the sort of thing that Victoria Police sort of typically does.
There is some sort of there is a challenge to the declaration in the federal court at the moment. It's being heard on Monday.
Oh, okay, Monday. Oh, okay, that's interesting timing. Oh, that's interesting.
So these are powers. So basically, in inner city Melbourne in November, Victoria Police declared multiple locations as a designated area, which basically means they can stop, frisk you, search you without a warrant or any reasonable grounds. They can just do it.
Yeah, it's a human rights free zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. We normally hear laws saying, like, oh, if we have reasonable suspicion and they're broad with that, to actually put it forward with, no, we don't even need that.
I don't give a fuck, bro.
So-
I'll search you for anything, bro. I don't give a fuck.
I look, as one... It's one issue that me and the cookers probably align on, is that this is perhaps a Jacinta Allen overreach.
I don't think you need to be a cooker to recognize that civil liberties are infringed upon when police have the ability to warrantlessly search you with no probable cause whatsoever. I think anyone with a brain can realize that that's government overreach.
But it was meant to end on... so they had a deadline. It was meant to be Friday, 29th of May, but it's now 9th of January, so it's ended now. This is actually a week or two old, this story, but I just thought it was interesting that that's now happened.
Oh, and interesting. And in that intervening time, have stabbings just exploded exponentially since then?
No, as it turns
No,
out.
interesting.
In fact, in only 1% of the searches that they conducted were any illicit substances or weapons found in any of these searches.
Oh, cool. That sounds like a fucking great hit rate. Absolutely excellent ratio. It's worth patting down 99 strangers to find the occasional penknife. Well done, guys.
But in
Great
all
job.
those other pat downs, they found many a roll of coins or someone happy to see them.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, what about the one guy who likes getting patted down? That's his fetish. He's going to be very disappointed. No, check my pockets.
You'll have to go back to paying for it.
No. Go back in. No, I think you missed something. Go back to the left. Yeah, there it is. You got me, officer. Put me away.
Our last story this week is one that has brought me much joy as well as sadness. Tom, why is the internet ruining all things?
Oh, well, because what else is the internet good for? No, so the website, Adam's home state of Tasmania, they love some tourism down there. There's Mona, the amazing museum.
Something different about the waters down here.
Yeah, the water down there's gorgeous. Wineglass Bay, stunning.
Come for the air.
You want some, a very solemn experience. You maybe head out to Port Arthur. Like, it's just such a beautiful little
You got your Sullivan's Cove whiskey distillery, best whiskey in the world, 2018.
Yep, so much delicious whiskey down there. But or you could hit up the Weldborough Hot Springs. They sound really nice.
Wow, I love a hot spring. Tell me more about it, Tom.
It offers a peaceful escape and an authentic connection to nature. So authentic that it doesn't exist. So
it's authentically horseshit.
It's amazing. The hot springs appear on the Tasmania Tours website. It's one of their 7 best hot spring experiences in Tasmania for 2026, according to the website. There's pools full of rich therapeutic minerals.
So one of their 7 best. Why couldn't they just have had 6?
Yeah, you could have just had 6.
And you don't have to make one up, and you're done sooner. You can finish for lunch.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes, it does not exist. And so why is it on the website, and how do people know about it? AI, obviously.
Why is there an image of it? It's so much extra effort to go to create an image of something that does not exist.
Yep.
Than to accurately describe a thing which does exist.
Yeah, there's just this image of crystal blue water, like steam coming off it, beautiful scenery, a guy walking through who does not skip leg day. His calves are gigantic.
Look at those calves. Melons. Incredible calves.
Just beautiful. But so the Australian Tours and Cruises, who runs the Tasmania Tours website, has admitted that their AI technology that it used to create content and articles messed up. So that's them saying they use it for other stuff. They're using AI to help them create, stuff to drive bookings.
It hasn't just messed up on this one. The images they're showing on a variety. The ABC's, to be fair, it's a mum and dad business. They're using AI to try and save money. I get that.
But this is the cost. The cost is, you're trying to save money by creating, by omission, by accident, I'll, charitably say, almost scamming people.
So but it's it's so much...
to go to these places.
But, you have to create... So, hang on. But you have to create the article. So you go, whatever, ChatGPT... make up an article about the 7 best places
the 7 best hot springs in Tasmania.
And then you get a picture of whatever, you get a picture of Salamanca Market, you get a picture of... But then that's an extra step to be then go and generate an AI image of this thing. It's real images of these places exist. You could just use the actual images. So they've gone and created, maybe it's a hallucination that the listing, the text was generated about a place that doesn't exist. But then they've not checked that text, and then they've gone and created an AI image to go with that text for a thing that doesn't exist. There's so many... It's not just the AI messed up. Sorry, guys, I was off having a coffee, and the AI just ran wild, and I just didn't know what it was doing. I opened my computer, all these porn was on my screen. It's just the AI gone wild, love. I don't know what happened.
Allegedly, it wasn't actually the company. They used a third-party, operator, a contractor to some extent.
But why did the third party do it? You know what I mean?
Now, funnily enough, Weldborough does exist. It's a real place, and there is a pub. And the pub's been getting some strange requests recently.
Yeah, because people have been booking to come to Tasmania to see this place that doesn't exist.
What's crazy is that it works. These people actually look at these websites and go, "Oh yeah, that looks fucking excellent. I'm gonna go there." That's the craziest thing to me is that regular fucking internet
anything about it. Outside,
put in the Google map something. You Google, it's just this is the only website in the world which mentions this hot spring. It must be pretty fucking exclusive, guys. I reckon we should, on spec, without knowing anything else, book flights to Tasmania.
So there's a group of a car club, a tour club that rocked. There was 24 drivers turned up and asked about where the springs were.
Incredible.
People have asked about accommodation at the pub, because they're planning a trip. The publican is very confused.
Yeah, I love the quote from Kristi Probert, the publican, saying, Like the Weld River, which runs through Weldborough, is freezing cold. It is definitely not a hot spring. They're more likely to find a sapphire than find a hot spring, to be honest.
And there was the other quote, which was something like, I said, if you find a hot spring, come back and I'll buy you beers for the rest of the night.
Yeah,
they
free
never came
beer
back.
all night.
Some hot springs in Tasmania. I don't think there's 7 of them. There's literally one that I know of down the south, which is Hastings Caves.
Amazing. You can just the one best hot spring in Tasmania. What an article.
Well, how do we know? Have you been there, Adam?
I have been to Hastings Caves, yeah. It's beautiful. I recommend going to Hastings Caves.
How do I know it's real? I haven't been there. Now
There
I
you're
don't
lying,
fucking know
guys.
who to trust.
And look, this raises a larger problem around Google.
AI generation breaking
There's
the
that.
entire information space.
and the way Google scrapes data, right? So this is just people have found this from a Google search and recommendations from Google searches, probably using Gemini. Not proven.
Like the little summary at the top.
You got to assume that AI summary
Within
tops.
Google, oh yeah.
So it's an AI.
It would be using
an
their own
AI
engine,
hallucination, probably on top of an AI, like like on top of another AI.
an AI
hallucination.
generated this article, and an AI without, like, just because it doesn't have the capacity to validate kind of what it's getting. It's just getting, like, the
just
different
summarising.
information and collating it to be like, hey, a hot spring I've heard about's this one, according to
Well,
Tasmania Tours.
This
Sounds
is
good.
this is actually a real problem in the AI space. It's leading to what people are calling, I think it's model breakdown or something like that. It's like because these models are trained on the entire corpus of everything that's
internet.
on the fucking internet. If I remember reading somewhere that like half the articles published nowadays are at least partially, if not fully, generated by AI. So it's like if AI slop is getting pushed out, and then
AI
new
slop's
training models are training on that slop, and they're sort of huffing their own farts, you could get to a sort of a stage where these models actually
it's
sort of
crazy.
cease to function properly because it's like when you photocopy a photocopy, when you keep doing that, obviously, things get corrupted when you keep feeding
it's like
bad stuff in over and over again, right?
Yeah, it's an Ouroboros of bullshit.
Yeah.
And you can see this now on Facebook is getting pretty bad at it, to be honest. So I still look at Facebook. It's probably still my main social media, despite all medical advice.
Is this how you keep tabs on the boomers?
This is how I
It's
do
just
it.
One day
occasionally.
you are so depressed.
Yeah.
But so Facebook, I follow a lot of like history stuff and stuff about like science, stuff that's interesting to me. And a lot of
of the world, an educated man.
But
Clang.
the stuff that's getting suggested, I would say overwhelmingly now, is AI generated. Whether it be the text or the video or the picture or all three.
Wish
Or the voiceover.
ripped Jesus happy birthday. What the fuck?
So like, you'll see it'll be an AI, like for instance, it'll be about a battleship that sunk, say, in World War II. And they'll have an AI-generated image of that battleship, and they'll have an AI story about that battleship. And most of it will be okay, but then there'll be various, like, things that are just made up.
Yeah.
It's not real.
A picture,
watch a documentary.
or a picture
Just
that's-
watch a movie. Read a book.
And you can see in
It's
the
not-
comments.
it's not real.
You can see in the comments, and this is a common trope that people will go AI, not real. Like this is wrong. Like that's actually this other battle cruiser. That's not really the right. So my point being is that social media. It's breaking social media. I guess it's only a matter of time, and it's happening right now. I guess with this exact story, until Google and search results start to affect things in real life.
But I think what really sells it is the image generation,
Yeah.
and that's where I see the utility of AI generated text for discrete business functions. I totally see the purpose of that. I think it's useful. I think it will help people. But like when you get to image generation and video generation, like that's when it starts to break the information space, because now people don't know who. You might see an article about the 7 best hot springs, but it's the image that sells it. People go, oh, that looks fucking incredible. We got to go there. Yeah. It's like that's the part where it starts to break reality. Like if you've got a piece of bad text or whatever, it's like, okay, that's fixable. When you've got images floating around now from Nano Banana 3 or whatever the latest Gemini image generation model is that are indecipherable from reality, like that's a real problem for like knowing stuff is true.
And if anyone's, if anyone knows Tasmania or even Southeast Australia, like some of these images are obviously fake. Like this is a picture looking. It's basically taken
looks like Europe, like in the Russian trees or something.
It's the American one with the
like redwoods.
No, well they're the tops of trees.
Pine, aren't they fir trees? Douglas firs in the background.
It's a Yosemite. This is a picture that is basically
they're not eucalyptus trees. This is not the Australian bush, like very obviously.
Like if you look up a picture of Yosemite and the thermal pools in Yosemite, then
you'll get something like that.
Well, that's what it's trained on, presumably, right?
And it's just crazy that they have AI generated images of real places in Tassie as well. Like they've got the one here of Salamanca Market.
But that's what I mean. There's so many. There's thousands. I've got pictures of Salamanca Market I can send you. They're in everyone's phones. They're all over the internet.
The best one
Just
is
use a real one.
The view from Mount Wellington, which is obviously a picture of I don't know what that is, Brisbane or something.
The ABC quotes it here as saying it looks more like Brazil. Like completely other different part of the world. I've been to the top of Mount Wellington. That's not what it looks like. Down from up there. Hobart does not look like that. It's crazy. And having a big underground art thing of Mona.
Yeah.
Mona's built into a cliff face. It's got all these things. But they've just got some weird big stone, ancient Greek theatre looking motherfucker in this
it's not a Bond lair.
Why don't you have pictures?
It is kind of like a Bond
Mona?
lair, to be fair, but that's not what it looks like.
Not this Bond lair, at least.
Mona themselves have their own promotional video pictures, which I'm sure they would be happy for you to use if you were trying to drive tourists to go to Mona.
I mean, look, online marketing works. What can I say? And look, maybe it's one of those things where it's you look up, people do Google things to do in XYZ's location. And
I mean, I did a whole bunch of that, before recently going to Europe, just to be there are things I know I want to see in London or Scotland and all that sort of stuff. But I don't know, just what's a random thing I might never have come across or have not been aware of before. But you do.
And if it's AI generated, you won't come across it because it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
This is the thing that people really don't understand about large language models. Large language models, the way they work is they are prediction machines. The large brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, right? The next word, the last word in that sentence statistically is going to be dog 99% of the time, right? So that's all it is. It is a statistical association machine. Based on this context, the next sentence, the next paragraph would probably be something like this.
It's rarely that far in advance. It's usually at each word.
It's and it's obviously more advanced than that. The transformer models means that they can incorporate more context and read the document as a whole, so it's not left to right. It's we've read the whole document. We know when you say hammerhead, you're talking about a shark and not the hammerhead crane in this instance. There's context, and then there's reasoning models, and they're recursive loops where it runs it over and over again to try and refine it. And you can see that in the pro models of some of these models where you can see the reasoning and it's displayed in text. It says show what I'm thinking, and it clicks down. You can okay, I'm thinking through this logically, and I can see that the user is asking for this. I'm going to present the information in a logical, transparent way, and it gives you an indication of sort of in plain English as to what the model is, what their reasoning, what their structure for how their thinking is. But at the end of the day, it's just a prediction machine. Yeah. It's not meant for accuracy. And yes, some of these models can go and search the internet and get information from elsewhere and synthesize it, and you've got a better chance of being correct if that's the case. But it's not a wonder that AI gets stuff wrong. It's a wonder that AI ever gets anything right in the first place. Yeah. It's not what they're built for. They're not built for correctness. They're built for coherency. Right? It wants to sound correct. If I ask my AI to tell me what the connection is between Adam's stinky farts and the speed of light, it'll write something that sounds not nonsense, but is obviously nonsense, right?
Yeah, well, I heard a professor at UC Berkeley in software engineering describe large language models as programs that are really good at putting words together that look good together.
Yes.
That's the thought behind them.
And that doesn't mean you can't utilize it for discrete purposes in business. I've got this long, corpus of material. I've got this really long report. Summarize it for me. It can do that because it's got all the context and it's pulling it down and bringing it into something shorter. There are discrete, useful use cases for AI in the context of knowledge work and business. But you can't assume that the output, like, that's not the way the systems are created and designed, is to create factual information. And there's other things like RAG pipelines where you feed it context, basically. You say, this is all the information that I want to include as context along with this prompt, retrieval augmented generation, and that'll give you a more accurate answer. But like, at the end of the day, it doesn't solve the underlying problem, which is that the technology as it currently exists is really just a word prediction machine.
Not unless
it's not magic, like.
But George, the investment markets would had you believe that it is magic. In fact, I'm going to put all my money into AI. Let's do it.
Collateralized debt obligations on data center build-outs. Yes.
Yeah, because otherwise,
what could go wrong?
I have backed the wrong multi-billion-dollar horse.
Yeah. On that note, we have been, we are, and we always will be Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com, for stuff and things. Make sure you follow us on all the bullshit social medias that are ruining the world, that have, do, or ever will exist, at our handle, at Unnatural Show. Follow me on Instagram at George Tsipos.
You can follow me on Threads at tom.heath.
And you can follow me down to Canberra, where I'll be door-knocking members of the Liberal Party to get their goss, because apparently they'll just tell anyone about what's happening.
I'll tell anyone fucking anything, as it turns out.
You're going to Canberra? Let me know. I'll go.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go door-knock some people and just get some... We could be journalists, Tom.
Just make sure when you generate the list of politicians to door knock, make sure you don't use AI to generate it. Otherwise, you might be knocking on some strangers' doors that don't exist.
I see what you did there. You brought it around and linked two things together.
It's called a callback. We've only been doing this 15 years. Thanks for listening, guys. I love your faces. We'll see you next week.